opportunity of financial resources expended on national grid. So we are 75% of our national security program.
The organization has. So we're talking about how the board behaves, or in some cases, how they misbehave, because that also happens, rather than the tax they give.
Very rare you run names that I know.
I tell you, I've secured the name and the
Are you ready for exponential results this year? Do you desire and seek to build economic value and wealth on a consistent basis? We're proud to introduce to you the 4th ICAN Malaysia International Conferences. The theme is Building Economic Resilience, Navigating Turbulent Times Through Digital Transformation. This year's conference has been put together to empower and equip participants with the needed shift for personal, professional and institutional transformation. The conference dates, the 16th to the 19th of May 2022. Venue, Adia Hotel Langkawi, Kedah, Malaysia. For further inquiries please send a mail to chairman@ican-malaysia.org or info@ican-malaysia.org. You can also visit our website https://ican-malaysia.org to register for the conference now. You can also reach out to us through the following contact numbers currently being displayed on the screen. +60 1632064113, +62 8121572358, 60,176,197,280, +234 8033502768, +234 8067908190. We look forward to your registration and participation at the conference. If you're ready to start your registration and payment process, please contact one of our friendly coordinators or simply visit the website to complete your registration. The website is https://ican-malaysia.org. Thank you. We're looking forward to seeing and connecting with you in Malaysia.
I say hello to our professional colleagues, our friends, our associates, practitioners of our services as professional accountants. Bidding you welcome to ICAN on Air. And today, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria shifts slightly, or most appropriately, to examine this important topic: best practices and sustainability of family businesses in Nigeria. Well, we practitioners of our noble profession know that it is no longer a secret that family businesses the world over can struggle with governance, can struggle with leadership, can struggle with transformational upgrades and survival, can also struggle with longevity or business continuity. From content observation, majority of small and medium enterprises, and I may add micro enterprises in Nigeria, are family-owned businesses. More so, over 60% of all farms in most nations are classified as family businesses. In Nigeria, according to data 95% of family-owned businesses do not survive the third generation of ownership. Real strange concerns, which are special guests today. Fumi Olani, MSc, ACA, AITN, will guide us on a navigation on how to succeed in this uncharted terrain. Fumi Olani is a senior manager in the private clients and family wealth practice of Anderson Tax in Nigeria. She was part of the team that liaised with the regulatory officials during the bank holdco industry lobbying with the Federal Inland Revenue Service for waivers as the Central Bank of Nigeria initiated the bank holdco structure. She has widespread experience in tax and social security knowledge to clients in Nigeria, Ghana, Angola, Sierra Leone, Chad, Niger, Congo, and Gabon. We unveil our esteemed guests to you shortly. Also on this program, we share with you our ICAN diary. Yes, diary of events of some of the most important things in the calendar of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. We will also naturally be showing you one or two adverts as we go on. So please stay connected, stay on put. We will be back with you very shortly. Thank you for staying with. And please join me to welcome Fumi Olani onto ICAN on Air. You're welcome.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, sir.
Super. Just go straight. And I start with the ignition. The ignition is such that let's understand, let's be on the same page in respect to our understanding of what we should really in-depth understand on the subject of best practices and sustainability of family businesses in Nigeria by asking you, in your definition, how will you describe family-owned business?
Okay, thank you so much again for having me. And I love this topic so much and I'm delighted to talk about it. I know a lot of people have businesses and we seem to understand what it means to incorporate a business, but this is quite different because there's a different line to it. So when I want to define what family-owned business is, I would say it's just a common business structure. But the difference is that you have two or more family members in it. And we can equally say if you and your brother set up a business, it becomes a family business. And you'd continue because you want to generate profit for the business. And then the management of the company or the board of directors of the company may either or either not be family members. But where they have common values and common family traits, or I mean, for lack of a better word, then it becomes a family business. And I can say, for example, we have the Dantata. When you talk about the family business of Nigeria, we can talk about the Dantata family, and we can equally talk about the Walmarts. We all go to shop in Walmart, but it's a family business. And some people use the Ford vehicles. The BMW, Ford, they're all family businesses. So that is the little way I can explain what this family business is. We have a lot of people that also have this thing in common, but not just to mention a lot of companies that are within Nigeria, but with this, I believe we'll be able to understand what a family-owned business is. Thanks.
Fantastic. And the way you read it out, you go back into reading journals, and then we accountants and non-accountants talk about the Rocha family. Just mentioned Nantata, say, oh. So really, from little acorn, the great oak,
yes,
flourishes. So what are the various best practices for sustaining a family business?
So for you to have a sustainability of the family business that we have in mind here, there are lots of businesses that you set up that would crash based on there are different reasons to business collapse. But if you really do want the sustainability of that business, you have to have a proper plan for the business, and you have to have a good check of the business from time to time. And I always try to tell people that it's not about my brother, my sister, but you have to understand the objective to which the family member is in this business, and it has to align with the objective of the business your objective of the plan that you had initially when you set up that business. So in setting up this business, and if you want it to last, like the examples that I've put forward here, we know how long those businesses have survived. And you must make sure that you're strict. You must make sure that you have regular family meetings. You must communicate the right objectives to everybody that is involved. And you must also have the requisite knowledge. Put people in positions where they can actually professionally work or survive. So I know you have a background in communications, for example, and I'm putting you in finance where you have nothing, you have no idea what that means. So you have to put people in the right position. They said the right peg in the right hole. So that is exactly what it means. And you must adopt a structure where a structure that ensures limited liability of the family members. That way, you would definitely have a long-lasting family business, and you would be successful all the way.
Fantastic. Back to us in Nigeria. If Walmart could succeed, McDonald's could succeed and go elsewhere, what are some of the internal problems faced by family-owned businesses in Nigeria? One, and please give us your views on the place of succession planning, the ownership structure, the accountability framework in family businesses.
Okay. Thank you so much, because you're tilting towards my comfort zone here. When people talk about their businesses and how they want it to survive, they're not exactly thinking about the people that want to take ownership of this business after their exits. So what I tell people is you need to groom the people that you want as your successor in this business. You have to have a very good succession planning strategy. I have a child, and I know I want the child to be a medical doctor, but he doesn't want to be a medical doctor. You see a lot of them tilting towards arts work, or they're tilting towards fintech. Some of them may not just be interested in what you're talking about, but you need to have the mindset that this child may not eventually do what I have destined or what I've planned him to do. So that way, you're having a good succession planning strategy. I know my one child will not go that way or will not go my line of business, but I also know that the next child or the next person, it may not necessarily be your child, may not also want to do the kind of business that you do. So you need to be hostile. We have a hostile environment here. So you need to be strict in your decision. And that way you would have some business, you have your business last forever. We just say forever for the sake of it. But also, apart from having the very great succession strategy, you also have to create a very clear family governance structure. We've written a lot of articles about family governance, about family council, which is a platform where the family meets. They talk about different things and how they want the business to survive, the existence of the business, the activities of the business, and the plans that they have for the business. You also need to have a board of director. So it's not because it's my business and my brother's business or my sister's business, I wouldn't have the proper structure that would make the business survive. No, you need to have a family structure, and you need to have the board of directors. We call them, there are different ways to which this family governance structure works, but you need to have that work for you. If not, you're smelling doom for that business eventually. And then another point for me is you need to develop family members for them to participate in what you're doing. I mentioned that earlier. So I want a business where what we do is fintech, and the person I'm thinking of as a member of the business isn't interested in that particular line. Like, fintech is not for everybody, right? So you need to have people that have the right qualification, that have the professional certification to do the job and to play the roles that you have put or that you want them to play. I would also say money is everything. So if you don't have proper financial management for the business, it will fail. It's just you can't help it, but you have to have the accountants to do the work. You need to have not just the accountant that does not we all have accountants in our businesses, but the ones that know how to actually manage the accounting practices and can go by the books and can do the right thing at the right time with integrity. That way your family sustainability will be ensured. And I would say also that when you try to hire people, you don't do that because you are related to them or because someone has given you the CV or they have told you that you must help this person. No, you have to think about the longevity of the business, and you must choose the right set of people to employ for the role that you have put in place for them. So that way you're thinking of a tactics to sustain your business, and the employment policies must be there. There's no shortcuts to it. So the compensation for the employees must be well stated, and it must be something that would endear people to the business. So you just need to do the right thing. Go the right way, and don't go the fast route. And I would also mention that some people have family assembly where they come together, talk about the goals of the business. They talk about what they want for the business in the next 10 years or in the next 20 years. You need to consistently do that. If not, there may be no sustainability for that business. And one other thing that I always talk about is there's always conflict within the family. You must have a way of resolving conflicts in a way that would not hamper on the success of the business. So just try to take away the sentiments, the empathy, and then try to do the right thing by ensuring that even when you resolve those conflicts, it doesn't disturb the business, the growth and development of the business. Thank you. I hope that suffices.
That more than suffices, and that puts the frame really. And then I'm going to pull you back a little bit. I know you mentioned that. Could you share with us your insight into perhaps the important factors for running a successful family business.
So, in my last, in answering the last question before this one, I mentioned something about poor management or having people not thinking through the business but thinking about themselves. There's no selfish interest here. It has to be in the interest of the shareholders. It has to be in the interest of people that own the business. Take myself away from that business and imagine me. I'm being there as a director. I'm being there as the owner of the business. So say, yeah, director. And then I'm looking out for the shareholders. It's shareholders' interest that should really matter most. So I'm thinking about the family problems that I have and the conflicts that I have. You don't know how much that would hamper on the success of the business. So you take yourself away from the selfish interest that you have for yourself. And then you're thinking about the business, and I'm thinking about the clear policies and procedures. And I'm also thinking about the business norms. What are the norms that we have set out for this business? What should really we're looking at the successful businesses. I'm thinking of Walmart, for example. I'm sure when they set up the business, it probably wouldn't know it will last this long, but everybody shops there. It's just somewhere that is convenient, and we never knew how it started. But if they had started in a shabby way, or if they started based on sentiment, or if they started by not putting the right people in the right position, or their role confusions, if they are poor control of operations, I'm sure we wouldn't have the Walmart that we have today. So you need to have the talent that deserves to work there. The skills you need to put there must be for the business. And there's always something about man. They said where there's poor communication, there'll be poor information. So communication problem would arise at any time in the family, but you need to have a way of resolving that conflict in a way that everybody smiles at the end of the day. And we're not thinking about ourselves. I'm not thinking about the Olani family here, but I'm thinking about the shareholders. I'm thinking about majority of people that have interest in that business. And that way would succeed. And I know in Nigeria, we have this belief around, oh, it is mine, it is mine. Take yourself away from that position. And I'm thinking of the company as the company that belongs to everybody. It's not just me. They could eventually we could have a change of the directors or change of the board, and it becomes a successful business because I did the right thing at the right time. So we need to have the right values and the ethics that would make the business succeed, and not that of ourselves alone. I hope this.
Fantastic,
Yes.
fantastic, fantastic. In the course of you putting those response to my question, I know two questions came. I will try my best to fuse them. A family business might be father, son, wife, grandchildren, and that could go on. But if you look at the case of Unilever, as Mrs. Morara Fagbure had asked earlier, you find situations where you do not necessarily have to be family members to run them. That is one. And also, Bieliamini asked and was making the point that, yeah, not many people believe this. This is a bit on a theoretical perspective. Are you really sure? Are you really sure that it can go on and on? You can state the things. And I'll cap it by Abel Agbodion that says, question here. Many family businesses resist dilution of ownership. Hence, they want to rather hold on to 100% or nothing than own 10% of something. Your reaction to all these, you know, the NGOs, you know, the church, you know, the mosques. If you don't hold on to it, it will be snatched away from you. Yeah.
Okay. So can I answer that question?
Yes, please.
They're all intertwined, so it makes it easy. So, you know, in mentioning family business, you must understand that where there's no family governance set up in a family business, then it's as good as a one-man business. But if we really do want to have a family business, she's correct. I mean, the woman that mentioned the fact that Unilever, survival, and all of that, I'm sure Unilever would have done something great for them to sustain this business till now. So, in having a family business, the family governance setup is very important. You must have a family assembly. I mentioned that earlier, where you have a group of people, the people with the same mindset come together, discuss all the goals and ambitions or objectives of the business. And then you have the smaller version of the family assembly, which is the family council. Council. They will have, those are the decision makers. They would come together and discuss how this family business should be upheld. But one thing that is clear, we all know about constitution in an organization. There's also something called the family constitution. It's like a rule book. It's a book where it tells what that dictates every activity, everything, the laws, the rules of the business. You must have it. If not, everybody will just be working, or they'll just be working without having rules that guide their activities. And in also having a family business, you must be able to have a family office. And family office, like you mentioned, you don't necessarily have to be family members, right? You can bring in professionals, people that you're not related to carry on this business for you. If there's proper leadership, there's no way the family would survive. The business would survive. So there has to be a proper leadership mechanism where you stay with the rules, the board of directors make the rules, and they don't bend the rules based on any. I know we have political issues and we have some ethnicity issues, but you would stay with the rules in order for the business to survive. And everybody is treated as an independent member. There's no
Hmm,
way the family business wouldn't survive.
hmm, hmm. Interesting. We'll go to Fagbola Temitope Adeni, and I still want you to get back to this. Either who one represents or nothing, rather than who 10% or something. When she's putting it, Temitope is saying some family businesses hardly stay afloat beyond reasonable years due to some abnormality, including conflict of interest among the promoters. She wants you to kindly discuss the do's and don'ts of family businesses for sustainability.
So I mentioned professional expertise. For you to have a good and a lasting family business, it's not, I know it may not be easy because sometimes we bend our rules because of family members. We don't want conflicts within the family. And, so many things happen that even the shareholders may not be able to understand. But there are things that you must be able to set aside for the business survival. So, for succession planning and to empower the next generation, you must ensure that the board members are strong enough to make decisions in the interest of the shareholders. That way, you would have a successful business. So if I set up a business now, I set it up with my family members, and I know that I have a friend that is very good with handling conflict situation. I can put the person on the board, not in my own interest, but because I want the sustainability of the family. I want the good of the family business. And then I bring the person in, and that takes away the self-interest. So if you're able to understand that you're not working for yourself, a lot of people may be selfish, but in doing this, and if you want a lasting business, you need to take yourself away from that. If it has to do with you retiring, that normally you have businesses that they just call the CEO, the chairman, and then it doesn't operate, is non-operational. It's just there to make final decisions. If it has to be with you staying aloof, I mean, just watching the intelligent people, the skilled ones, the professionals do the work, why not? If you don't do all of those things, then you don't want the success of the business. And I'm sure when the incorporation of the business was done, that wasn't the objective. It was for you to be able to have a lasting business. And when you want to retire also. You're thinking of the people that want to take over from you. They need to have the interest of the business. It's not because I want the financial interest of the business, but I want every other thing apart from finance. In terms, I don't, everybody wants money, right? But I just want the next generation to be able to benefit based on what they want to offer to the public, based on what they want to give the name of the business. They just want the family name to progress even longer than 10, 15, 20, 50 years. And that is the objective. If not, everything about it is lost. And also, you must be able to have that family business structure. I can't overemphasize on it. If you don't have it, then you don't have anything. And continue to be innovative. Things are changing. I mean, there's disruption in the digital world now. There's e-commerce. Social media has changed everything. Online advertising, everything has changed. So you need to change with the moment. You can't be the same way they met you yesterday or when COVID happened. No, we couldn't have imagined ourselves on the Zoom platform or online meetings, and it's all successful. So you need to really challenge yourself to be able to don't lack. I mean, there's nothing about technology that you can't change or that you can't work with. So opportunities are there, bring it to bear and make the business survive. And survival is very key, except you don't have the right mindset or the vision or the mission of the business is not known to you or you don't align with it. That is when the business would crash. But I really hope I was able to answer that question.
Yes, and I'm going to now throw you on a bit under the bus.
As usual.
And in throwing you under the bus, it will be what economists call, motto pack economics. This is not for luxury. This is not for C-suits. What I'm going to ask you now.
Okay.
I paint this scenario. I am 75 years old, done good business, and then fortune has smiled on me. I have just one child who is a female child. And between me and my wife, we're considering, all right, what are we going to put in our will for this female child? This female child is not necessarily fit for purpose for what we need to do. And from what you have said, we need to have a family book, we have to have a rule book, we have to have it all, and then all, they are all there. And she got married, and naturally, the husband will naturally be a part of the family. And the rule book of the family says, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not fiddle with the numbers. This guy now belongs to some other institute which cannot be ICAN, and then he has done some teaming and leading, and the business has lost money. What if you are calling us a consultant and you need to do a rectification based on the scenario I have painted? What will you be prescribing? Will you be prescribing to me, a 75-year-old, to fire my daughter's husband, my in-law? Or are you going to continue to pepper it in a way and manner that we just continue to wobble and fumble? Let me have your view.
Yes, so very good question. Very real. It happens every time. And unfortunately, I have a lot of clients that may be in this web too. Majority of small and medium enterprise business, they wouldn't think that it would be big, and now see them blossom. We don't know how they started. We don't even know if it was just the owner that almost killed himself to have a big business that he has today. Data has it that about 95% of family-owned business in Nigeria, they don't actually survive. We know a lot of them. I don't want to mention, but most times when I'm trying to tell my clients, I mention all of these names to them. Those people never thought they would have a failed business. But for this man, he's 75. He must have done some form of succession plan. And perhaps, most of the time they do this traditional way of will And he would have just said, oh, I have just one child, let me give it all. And then that one child happened to be married to someone that's has encouraged teaming and leading. And what do we do about that? What I would say is, when you have a business and I have a child, and that child is not strong enough to hold on to that business, then I need a third party to mentor the child. That's why they get professionals that will help them mentor that child, school the child up onto the level where the child is able to stand alone and can make decisions that are unwavering, decisions that will not hamper on the success of the business, decisions that would even make her expose the irregularities or the mismanagement of the spouse or even of the accountant or anybody. I know no person is not an ICAN person, but what you need to be strict on that path. So it doesn't, if my child is not strong enough or is not efficient or professional or proficient enough to handle the business, then I'll take up the conversation with a third party. It doesn't. All I want is sustainability, and my child can just watch the person take the business to the next level. Except, of course, that child is not well brought up. But there are activities where you mingle with people, and then they destroy the fortune or the ambitions that you have for the business. But that way, if we have professionals deal with the child or tutor the child to ensure that he thinks about or he is able to achieve sustainability of putting the books in place and ensuring that the family business does not die and is able to manage crucial information and is able to perform or even perform better than he used to or when the books were back. There's always a restitution. But with third party, that would use scorecard to be you have a great scorecard than it used to be. That people make mistakes, and unfortunately, perhaps the child wasn't brought up to be an entrepreneur. The child wasn't brought up to hold on to a decision. But there's always a way of making that clear and changing the dynamics. So I feel that the child can go through a mentorship program and a mentoring program, and you can even bring in third parties, professionals that can take the business to a next level while the child is watching or checking how things are being done. And you have the policies in place that if certain persons or people make wrong decisions in the business, there will be sanctions. Of course, there should be sanctions. If not, people will continue to err on the side of do the wrong thing at every time. So you can't, because this is your child, not put proper things in place, proper directions, and to avoid a failure of the business, you need to make sure that professionals assist you get or achieve the goals or the principles that you've set out for the business.
Absolutely awesome. I like that. Unto thyself, be true and get the third eye professionals to give you concrete professional advice, and you must be able to abide by them. Getting back to survival now. Adewale Ajayi is getting back to where we started from. So first generation, the father is there, and the father dies at the age of 60. And that's the end of the business. Oh, come on. And he's asking, what would be your suggestion to help a family business survive beyond the first generation?
Okay. Let me just re-emphasize for everyone. I know some people joined late. If you want to have a good family business, you must be strict. You must go by the corporate governance practice. You don't have to be emotional. There are no family ties here. It may exist, but you have to be, sometimes, I'll not say you have to be irrational, but yes, you have to do the things that would make the business survive first before you even think about yourself. We develop or we nurture things in our mind that, oh, I don't want to hurt this person, is my relation, is my friend, but that wouldn't help the business. So if you have a proper family governance in place, you have a constitution, you have a council, you have an assembly where people understand the rules and the obligations of the business, you would survive. And another thing I would also want to emphasize is businesses struggle. We know business, a lot of businesses are struggling in Nigeria, over multiple generations, but the businesses will not survive because they don't have the same goals and ambitions. So you have to understand that that business is there to survive. The first thing is about survival of the business. If you don't do the right thing for the business to survive, it will crash and you can't help it. So I mean, I can mention the families, the big families. Perhaps I just don't want to mention a lot of families that we know here, even those that were in the political world, but they were the billionaires of the time. But they crashed. Their businesses crashed. Is it because they don't have the children to take over? Because those things were not put in place. You have to set up those platforms for the business to survive, whether the owner is there or not. Is on autopilot. It just works that way. And that way, nobody is checking, oh, Oga hasn't said this, we can't do it. No. It has to do with the business, the shareholders, the owners of the business, and not about me as the chairman or the CEO of the business or the one that just incorporated the business. So that
As a
was
matter of fact, Mr. Ajayi had a question that was flashed earlier, and he was asking for the right exit, well, time and strategy for for the owner of a business to quit, so that at least I can get much more techie enablers to take the business to higher level. Is there a time that such a founder should exist? To exit, I meant.
yeah.
Just one word from you.
Okay. So there's no timeline. There's no timeline. I can decide to retire at 40 because I know I have competent people to take over my business. I can decide to retire at 70 because I just want to be watching. I don't want to be idle at home. But I know there are people that can do the business and they're there doing it successfully. Even without me blinking an eye, they've done the right thing. And there's no fear of retirement for me because, debt will come and people have interest in different things. So I am there because I know that the people that I've set out while I was strong and agile, those people can take over. You prepare the succession plan for leadership and it's not going to be lacking. And you have to do it while you're strong, while you're able to pass on the knowledge, and while you're able to pass on the objective of the business to the people that you want to take over. So I won't be afraid of retirement, but there's no timeline. I can decide to retire at any time. Some people still go to work every day, but they're not exactly active. They just want to step out of their house. They just want to be there. They just want to go out. But it doesn't necessarily mean they're active at the job because they have people that are competent, people that are professionals, people that have the interest of the company at heart and they're doing it well. So there's no timeline. I can decide to retire at 50, 40, 30, depending on the business and my pockets, right?
Yeah, you can say that again, madam. And
Yes.
Abel Asain's question speaks to the heart of the matter.
Okay.
And of course, naturally, the boss will have a family credo, and almost invariably, either after the exits of the founder, you get post-succession crisis. And his question is this: there are quite a number of prominent families that we still have, a bit of crisis, go to court, come back from court, and they're still in there. How will you
Yeah.
advise the board of such family businesses to manage post-succession crisis?
Okay, great. So, this is one fear that everyone has, and that's why we think of the different methods of passing our wealth to the next generation. We think about the will, which is almost mundane. We think about the trust. We think about the structure, which is the holding structure. So we know the person taking over after our exit. But while you're there and while you're alive, right? and you talked about the board of directors. You have a different combination. Like we always have executive directors and non-executive directors. The board should have both family and non-family members and even independent members as directors of a company. So if you have an independent member on your board, they can take strategic decisions for you. They can take decisions in the interest of the public, in the interest of shareholders, without thinking about themselves. Independent directors, they bring in objectivity and different perspective to the issues, including you have the fiduciary duties that they may have to shareholders in particular. So when the owner is dead, there's something that the owner has written out. He has already planned. I'm just saying, in the right situation here, the owner would have had a way of passing the wealth to the next generation. Any of those things would have been on the table. You're saying, okay, I want my child to be part of the directors of the company later, or I want the business transferred to a trust. I want it transferred. You have other different means of transferring wealth. You have that stated, and these people, both the people that are your family members that are on the board on the board of the company, and the ones that are independent, they would make your decisions work, because it's just there to be read. You say, sometimes while you're alive, you want your children to work along with you. You want them to be part of the business. Or sometimes it's after your exit, the children will be brought in, depending on how it is. There are always conflicts, but if you have set out the way in which you want to transfer this business to your successors, then it's easy. Your beneficiaries already know. It may be while you're alive or after your exit, and they already know what you have planned. So you just have to do the right thing. Write your will, or you have a trust set up. You have a healthy way of transferring the wealth to the people that you want, to the people that you have desire, and not to the people that don't even know anything about the business. And after your exit, there are court cases, there are issues. That wouldn't unify the family. And also, I believe we all know about the family that have all the brothers are in court right now, fighting over one thing or the other. Perhaps if those things were in place before their father's exit or the parents' exit, then they would have understood that this is how this should be. You have meetings, and you have talked about it. You know how to foster the family harmony. Then there will be no issue. But money destroys a lot of people. And the family mission, the family values, the motivations, everything around the family isn't of their business now. And they would just takes me to the question before now, where you said the spouse is the one that's actually almost messed up the business. So it happens. But if the family is united, if there's so much harmony between them, if the relationship is good, then the vision, the constitution will really be followed, and there will be sustainability of the business. I hope I was able to
Super.
answer this question.
Super. You're doing a great job. If you're
Thank you,
just
sir.
joining, this is ICAN on Air, the iconic program set out by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria as a CSR to build knowledge, to build capacity, and to make you a corporate person that should be able to stand your own even when the tide overturns. And today, we've been looking at the subject, best practices and sustainability of family businesses in Nigeria, where we've been fielding questions to Fumi Olani. I know you will have more questions. Usually, time not always being a friend. I will take one and then we begin to try and coast home. Well, Mutari Yakubu is coming up with some of the build-up that we already have given us. Quite right. The parent is the chairman, and the children are the MD. We see a lot of that. The husband is the chairman, and the wife is the MD. It's asking if that is a true reflection of the ideal separation of powers as envisaged in the corporate governance code.
Okay. You see, that corporate governance code that you have mentioned now is linked to family council constitution. So if I am the MD of the company. My wife is the director of finance. It happens everywhere because we want to shield the interest of the family. We don't want to bring in external people. It's okay. My wife may not just be active when it comes to managing the accounting of the business, but you can equally get people as subordinates or people that have the competency to do these things. I may just be selfish to say, I want my wife to also be doing something, to be going to work, to be seen as active. Because when we did the incorporation of the business, I took how many percent of the shareholdings of the company? My wife, I put her name, I put my son, I put my daughter, I put my relations, my friend. It's okay, right? But that doesn't mean that those people that you've put there should be the decision makers of the business. No. If I really know the right thing to do, I will not be selfish about these things. To avoid a failure of the business, and you need to identify the strength of the people that you've put there. You need to identify the people that I know can be proactive, people that can use the software that we have deployed to the company to in the interest of the business, people that I know they have eye for information, they can be put as strategic people in corporate, what's it called, corporate affairs. You just need to put the right plugs in the right hole. And
Super.
yes, if I know you're not knowledgeable, why would I? You can only groom them to become what you want of them, but you cannot force them. And the
Very.
wise tactic for you is to utilize, just make sure you use people that are successful. You've heard stories about people that failed. Don't become the failed story. Just change the dynamics, change the lyrics, and make your own work. The policies will help you. And with that, the business will flourish. And that's the truth.
Super. Super. I know who Watan is talking about pension plan, taxes for informal sector. I like to put it in a capsule and ask you, what are the tax incentives available to family businesses in Nigeria?
To be fair, right? Nigeria hasn't I mean, the lawmakers, the tax practitioners, or should I say, the administrators, they haven't really put out things that are negative when it comes to family business. It's been treated as a regular business that we have. But the kind of incentive that you have mentioned, she mentioned the pension and all of that. Yes, you can deploy those things into the compensation of your employees, whether they're family members or non-family members. And if you even want to give shares to them, make it market value. Just do things that the regular company or even the listed company will do, because those are the companies that you're trying to emulate, and involve, let it be innovation. So the reliefs that you have in the tax law for family business, there's nothing in the tax law that speaks to family business. So you can only talk about the employment income or income, and right here, we're talking about the business, which is the income of the business. The business is not seen as whether it belongs to a family or it belongs to a non-family. No. So the incentive cuts across for every business, depending on the business you're talking about. There are different incentives for different businesses in different sectors. So you can use those to your advantage. So if I'm in the agricultural business, I know I have reliefs as to my capital allowance. There are different things that can get my pioneer status for the company, so I'm relieved of tax for 3 years and even extend to up to 5 years. So those things are there, depending on the sector of the company is being run. I mean, the kind of business that we do. So there's nothing that is destined or put in cap for family business. So for the employees, just like the relief you mentioned for pension, you can also have the National Housing Fund relief for them, and that would be equally good. So you're treating them as though it's a limited liability or is an international company, and there's nothing about that's
Awesome.
separate.
Awesome. You may have mentioned that earlier, but I think this session will really not have done justice without asking you on the wealth management strategies for family businesses. Just briefly.
Okay, the wealth management, I've actually mentioned some of those. You can have a trust, for example. You can have incorporation of a holding structure where you know that the dividend or tax does not erode the interest of the business or the profit of the business. So you can, there are different issues around this family business and around businesses generally in Nigeria, but in the interest of the owners of the business, which is not just me, my husband, my wife, or my children, then you need to work like you're doing it for a regular corporate entity. And I think that's about the notion you should have in your head.
Fumi Olani, you've had stints here in Nigeria. You're a Nigerian. And then
Yes,
you've
I am.
had clients in Ghana, Togo, you've had clients in Gabon, Chad, and
Yes.
we have stated clearly that family businesses don't scale the fence. Compared to other countries in sub-Saharan Africa, including Ghana, how will you place Nigeria over or below? Just one word.
Okay, one word, and that's not
Yes.
enough. That's not just enough. I would really say that SMEs, we have lots of SMEs in Nigeria, and they're surviving. Lots of one-man business, they're surviving. Small and medium businesses, they are surviving. And what I can say is, if you go above and beyond, you know that SMEs or small businesses or even enterprise business, they contribute significantly to the Nigerian GDP, even up to about 46%, if my calculation is right. So we can soften what has happened to Nigeria through these businesses. And that way, if we want to hold them, and there are lots of incentives for SMEs, for example, so that they can benefit from. But a lot of the businesses we're talking about here, they're becoming globalized, they're becoming big businesses that we can
Wow.
shield.
Wow. Time not being my friend. I'd like you
Oh,
to
wow.
give me your parting shots, just very briefly, on this subject.
So I want to encourage everyone. No one is too small to put together plans for succession. You may just think during COVID, even the young people died, a lot of things happened, and you may just be thinking there's still tomorrow. Tomorrow is there. I'll run my wheel tomorrow. I'll create a trust tomorrow. I'll do this tomorrow. No, tomorrow may not just come. So there's no time than now for you to put together what you want for succession plan. And you don't have to be too wealthy. You don't even have to be wealthy. If it's as small as you having a gadget, you can tell who you want to take over. That way, the interest, your interest is their interest. And there are lots of incentives that I can place for you to have that business and for you to blossom even after your exit. So you need to encourage the people that are called your relations or people that you have added to your business to take up the mantle. That is not just about you; it's about everybody. So do the right thing at the right time and don't falter.
Super.
Integrity.
Thank you very much. Integrity and accuracy, as we always say.
Yes.
And integrity and accuracy is driving me in terms of the kind of time that I have now. And I'd like to thank you, Fumi Olani, for the incisive ways you have got into our questions, and also thank my online participants for great questions that you asked. Next on ICAN on Air will be on Tuesday, May 17, 2022. The venue still remains ICAN Social Media Forums, 6 p.m. West African time. We are going to be looking at the Fiscal Responsibility Act, implementation and challenges, and guesting will be Charles Chukwuemeka Abana, Esquire, LLB, MILD, FCIPDM, a pioneer staff of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, where he holds currently the position of Assistant Chief legal officer. Since 2014, we're providing leadership in the directorate, which is a driving organ for ensuring compliance with provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. Don't miss it. My nugget for today, and I quote, in most cases, family businesses are stronger because of the complementary skills of their members, end of quote. And that is attributable to Bernard Klesser. And so the sun sets on our ICAN on Air offering today to rise again on Tuesday, May 17, 2022. As I always say, be the change you like to see. Till I come your way again, I remain Akin Fatunke, your uncle. ICAN on Air. Bye for now.